he ended up pitching almost double the innings of the other starter on the opposition, Jacob Marusco, who went 2 2/3 innings, but only threw 4 more pitches, as Jack Smith now has finished back-to-back outings at the 82 pitch mark. He's an efficient guy on the bump, who will have a follow-up act of Gavin Nalu, a left-handed pitcher who stands at 5'11", 190, and attends the University of Stanford. He's appeared 6 times for the Hot Tots this summer, where he sports a 5.00 ERA and a 1.22 WHIP, and that's exactly what he's known for, is those crazy movers. That's put on display there for a called strike one. Nalu has such an inspirational story, as his fastball back in his senior season of high school would reach the lower 90s, and it looked to continue to reach higher octanes. But number 5 suffered a tumor in his throwing arm, and he says he's inspired to continue pitching every day because he knows the velocity will come back. He's completely adjusted his approach, where he currently doesn't have a fastball in the arsenal. It's a pitch mix of curveball, slider, sinker, and changeup for number 5, who was able to force plenty of weak contact. That's what happens there, as that one finds the chest of an awaiting Nick Pepe, who doesn't have to pirouette. He does it himself. It's a one-step throw over to Tristan Moore to get Gavin Nalu his first out in his first inning of work. It's only the second time tonight that a leadoff batter has been put away for Minnesota. The Hot Tots will look to build off of it as we move towards the bottom of the order. It's now the 7-spot guy, first baseman Adam Bergholtup, who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts today and nearly has one graze him there, but he stands in all the way, and the mover winds up behind him and is gloved by Travis Stapleton, ultimately just for a ball. So the former number 4 left-handed pitcher in the state of California in the graduating class of 2021, who still hasn't appeared in a game for Stanford through 2 seasons, is getting some very meaningful reps this summer for his Hot Tots. The La Mesa, California native now is an even count at 1s to Bergholt, the freshman at North Iowa Area Community College, who is watching early. His count is now 2-1. The 2-1 from Nalu is swung on and spun foul with plenty of backspin that winds up actually soaring over the right side of the grandstand and winding up near the asphalt in the awaiting parking lot, which has the count now even at 2-2 after the leadoff guy, Carter Hansen, was put away. It's the stretch from Nalu, movement on a ball that is driven out to left. It's plenty good contact. Does it stay fair? No. That one winds up foul after clearing both walls out and left. And we'll keep the count where it's at as the righty flashes his power to pull the ball down the line there, but just can't keep it right of the foul stripe. He'll take another big hack. This one won't find the same distance, but much more height, as it's a high popper over to Nick Pepe, who now has been involved in both outs to start off the top of inning number 6. This time he does it himself, reaching up and making the catch for out number 2. For those just joining us, this Hot Tots 7-4 lead was catapulted in the bottom of inning number 3, where the 4 guys who led off the inning, as well as Day Hale, all came around to score in a 5-run inning. The Hot Tots have not scored since and have allowed 3 unanswered runs. The Mud Puppies will look to add to the total here, but it looks like that won't happen, as it's a nice play at short from the new face, Jake Scholes, who's able to get it over to his first baseman and get Nalu out of an inning after throwing only 10 pitches. That has the Hot Tots bottom 2 and then top back up as Ryan Riccio, Jake Scholes, and Thomas Rollauer get ready to take on Jack Nicklaus on the mound on the Northwoods League Baseball Network. Between innings 4, 5, and 6, none of which came last inning, where in Nalu's first inning of work, number 5 was able to force a 1-2-3 inning on just 11 pitches. And now Nalu will look to stay sharp from the rubber. He lines up all the way on the outer edge of it and tries to get a fish try from Colton Becker, who holds off and evens his count now at 1s. Becker has watched 3 in a row. That one, though, able to scrape the outer edge for a called strike 2. His number 5 will be forced to fight now. In a 1-2 situation where the nasty off-speed guy, Gavin Nalu, looks to continue working. That one had nice movement, but will miss just up and in from Nalu. A guy who was a part of that 2022 Pac-12 champion Stanford team. And comes from quite the family of athletes. And he's able to find the same success there as he gets Becker fishing for it. And he comes up with nothing on his rod and reel. Nalu's first strikeout comes in his first batter of the top of inning number 7. And the swing and a miss brings the top of the order back up, all of which are ready to face the Stanford arm for the first time today. But as I was saying, Nalu comes from quite the family of athletes. His father played water polo at UCSD. That's good contact that will get up the middle. It kind of just dribbles between number 10 and number 3 as a diving effort from Schultz is not in time. And Pepe can't get to it either. So it is a bleeder for the first base runner against Nalu in his second inning of work. A guy who is the son of a UCSD water polo Hall of Famer. He finished after scoring the most goals in the careers program. He still holds that record, does Nalu's father. He's now got Will Couchman up, who has not reached base yet today. That'll quickly change as a mover from Nalu never gets back to the zone. It actually continues to head into the number of Will Couchman, who gets hit square in that number 1 in the back. And now gets back-to-back on at the top of the order, bringing the tying run to the dish for Minnesota. Looks to mount a comeback on the road in Corbett Field. After Stapleton has a quick talk with the first arm out of the bullpen for Minot. He'll have Mitch Cummins up, who has quite the line today. He was hit by a pitch in the first, then reached by an error in the third, and had a sacrifice grounder in the 5th. It's been an unconventional game for an unconventional guy who has been hit by 9 pitches this year. He's got 2 guys in front of him and is a crack of the bat away from tying this ball game for the first time since 0-0. After taking the first from Nalu. It's a readjustment and a watch on one that now misses low. Mitch Cummins in search of his 20th base on balls. It's going to be a double steal hit and run try that cannot come through there. As Couchman will have to start his walk back to first, and Recchio takes his time getting back into scoring position. Both wanted to steal, but Cummins swung the bat and sent it well foul on the right side, which ultimately goes for a strike where both guys have to get back to their bases. Nalu looks off the runner at second, who will try to go to third. This is a chance for a double play now, as he's quickly got to try to get back. Stapleton gloves it and will not make the throw to second. As a good signal from third base coach Brendan Dye is able to get a hustling Tanner Recchio back to second base. That's not before the catcher makes an underratedly nice grab from behind the plate and gets the second out of the top of inning number 7, where the Hot Tots look to strand 2 guys on. Something they haven't done often today, as the Mud Puppies have only stranded 4 on base through the ball game, 5 if you count the error in the third. And the Hot Tots at the plate actually have only stranded 3 guys, so both teams have been doing a good job of emptying the bases. And Tej Lethert, who had a home run in his last at-bat, will look to continue that, as the catcher now is tied for the most home runs between anyone in this contest. He's got 5 through 14 appearances. He spent the 2022 season with the Waterloo Bucks, where on a temp deal he played 5 games, batted .167. Where in 12 at-bats he had 2 hits, 3 runs, and was hit by 2 pitches. So his on-base percentage was good for .333, but he only slugged at a .167 mark, which had his OPS at 500. Now it is contact from the big bat out to center field. Hale is out there and getting to of the Kokomo Jackrabbits in their 2-game doubleheader today, as the Battle Jacks won this morning by a score of 12-6 and just knocked off Kokomo by a score of 2-0. Over in Bismarck, after the game was delayed, it's finally underway in the bottom of inning number 1. That has brought an offensive flurry as the Larks are already on top of the Loggers by a score of 4-3. 2 teams that met each other less than a week ago over in La Crosse. Then for the West, it's a battle for the ages as the Huskies and Rocks, a West versus East battle, is tied at 3s in the 9th inning, with the Huskies currently at the plate in the top of it. The Moon Dogs, after starting off 0-2 to start the second half, pick up their first win, which makes this game all the more meaningful. For the Hot Tots, should they lose tonight, would drop to lone possession of last place as the Moondogs improved to 1-2, and the Hot Tots currently sit at 0-2 after Mankato beat Waterloo by a score of 11-2. And then in terms of games currently going on, the only one that involves the Great Plains division is one where the Express are on the road in Wilmer, and there's an interesting score going on. It's the first game of the second half for the Stingers, and they trail 10-5 to Eau Claire, both champions of their respective divisions in the East and West. Start with a feud that Eau Claire is on top of in the top of 7. It's a 5-pitch walk to get things going, however, in the top of the 8th. Back to the matter at hand is Gavin Nalu, unable to find his command there in a 3-1 count, and Brady Zavorik, who was 0 for 1 on the day, just picked up his 3rd walk of the ball game, moving his total on the season to 18. Through 18 starts, he's walked now once a game after helping the total today. It's another leadoff guy on for the Mud Puppies, who were able to get their first 2 guys on last inning against Nalu, but couldn't bring anyone in to score. They'll look to find different results here, with Zavorik on and a 1-0 count now for Carter Hansen, the designated hitter. Hansen leads this Mud Puppies lineup in RBIs with 17. He's yet to get on base today, but after another miss from Nalu, he gets himself closer to doing such, as the left-handed bat, who stands at 6'1", 200 and is slugging .345 on the year, will readjust in a 2-0 situation. Nalu looks for the zone. He's able to find it there, painting that bottom left corner for the first called strike against Carter Hansen, who struck out once today and grounded out twice to the middle of the infield. Did so to short in the 4th and then to second in the 6th. Nalu looks over to first, decides not to test the runner, instead is able to force a wag and a miss for strike number 2. A 2-0 count now evens at 2s after Hansen watches one and can't make contact on a swing in the 2nd consecutive strike to him. Two to Hansen. Spun on with contact as that ball went skipping off of his barrel and backwards foul. Nalu's a guy who's really hard to get super solid contact against. As he's got so much off-speed stuff, you've really got to have power and drive it deep to take advantage of the reliever from the University of Stanford. However, the 2-2 misses outside in the dirt, and after Stapleton takes a second, it proves to be a second too late, as Zavorik is able to move over to scoring position with nobody away. It's the 2nd consecutive inning the leadoff guy has done that for Minnesota. But now the bottom of the order will look to find more success than the top, as Carter Hansen's got a full count pitch that likely will determine the longevity of Neilu's outing. So 3-2 from Gavin Neilu that again is reached on and sent to the left side. This time it's forward, however, as it winds up over on that third base side on the concourse foul. There's originally 485 in attendance tonight. Got to be still over 400, trying to watch the Hot Tots get their first win of half number 2. They get one step closer there as Gavin Neilu. Guess who's got his swagger back? Number 5. Second strikeout of the game. Continuing to look good, and his inspirational story makes it hard not to cheer for the kid who picks up his first out of the top of inning number 8. So after the DH is gone, his on-deck act of Adam Bergholt is now up. Another Mud Puppy who's yet to reach base today, as himself and Hansen, who just struck out, are the only two to be able to say such for Minnesota. And Bergholt looks to get himself out of that conversation. He struck out twice and popped out to Nick Pepe at short. The Hot Tots are just 5 forced outs away from a buzzer-to-buzzer victory, and a big one, as this is a team that is still in search of their first series win as a franchise. They didn't find any in half number 1 and got swept in their first series of the second half against their rival, the Bismarck Larks. The Tots look to give themselves a chance at the metric, but first it's one that's on a line out to left. That'll get down in one hop. A leaping Woodcocks is able to get leather on it and hold the runner at first. A nice play from the left fielder will force the runner back, but after the ball gets past and through Tristan Moore, he does wind up on second base. So with plenty to unpack, a Pats ball gets Bergholt from first to second, and nice contact to left is able to get Brady Zavorik from second to home. The Hot Tots lead is down to 2 after an RBI single from Adam Bergholt. Has the first baseman in scoring position with 1 away, essentially resetting the base path after driving one in to score and getting on base for the first time today. And there is now a mound meeting. It looks like the first day player, Jake Scholes, wants in on the meeting with Neilu and Stapleton, as it will mark the end of Gavin Neilu's outing, as Pete Horner does point to the home bullpen. It's an interesting situation, as from my vantage point, you have absolutely no view of the bullpen. My guess